welcome to Meeple Mentor Reviews. I'm Jared, and with me is Holly. Today we're looking at the new game Dawn. This is from Green Meadow Games, created by Taylor Hayward. So this is a 30-minute, 3 to 5 player game using just cards. You've got a first player token. There are a bunch of square cards, which are kind of like the village cards. That have varying prosperity values on the back of different buildings, and there's also like negative cards, I guess. There's the attack, like the bandit, and then another one that's like a spy type thing where you got to use spies to like overcome it. And then there's also like the plague. So there's there's like the plague one right there. So these buildings and these cards come out. A number of them based on the player count. We played it with 3, so there were 5 of these village cards that come out each round. In 6 rounds, what you're trying to do collectively is play cards so that you complete enough buildings to have a high enough prosperity value so that your collective town succeeds. And, if you contributed to that, you are considered an ally. But you can also secretly be placing cards in front of you that are actually treasures for yourself. They dictate you as a scoundrel if you've collected 7 treasures or more. So part of the round, phases is at the start you get to place a card from your hand face down in front of you. And throughout the game on your turn, you can always swap between what's in front of you and what you've got in your hand. So essentially it's a card playing kind of game, but everything's done a little bit secretly. We're collectively playing cards face down against various village cards. And then, when those are revealed to see if you've accomplished the goal, you shuffle them up so you don't see, who obviously contributed the good stuff and potentially negative stuff. It plays, 30 minutes probably, and it's a cooperative game, but it has that element of backstabbing in it where you can kind of go on your own way. What were your initial thoughts, or with your experience of the game?
I enjoyed it. I enjoy the objectives. I found that it's a good, quick game. They were easy to meet, the objectives. We had a pretty good team. We didn't really have a scoundrel, so I think that could potentially provide a lot more fun and interesting gameplay.
Yeah.
But it was fun as it was.
Yeah, I'd like to try it at different player counts too to get a better idea for how much you can really trust people to contribute. Because once you start seeing people swapping cards with what they've put face down with other cards in their hand, you start to wonder, wait, was that because they want to keep treasure or because what they kept is useful in this round? But you don't really know. And so it just, it always brings suspicion to any player who's swapping cards around in front of them. Instead of just playing the cards that they're dealt each round.
Are you trying to say you were suspicious of me?
No.
Because I was swapping my cards around.
Swapped as well, but I remember noticing that Lynn was like looking at me very intently as I did so, and she started to bring up like, I don't know if I could trust him anymore kind of thing. But you get 9 cards in your hand, but you start with 2 wound cards, which are 2-sided wounds, right? So you always see who has wounds in their hand, and basically they just clog up how many cards that are helpful that you can hold. So there are 3 main kinds of cards that you can use, which are the spy cards, the healing cards, and the attack cards. There's also the gold or the treasure exclusive card, which is like a yellow and is counted as a wild. The green cards can be used to heal wounds from any player. It costs 3 heal cards to remove a single wound card from a player's hand, and you can, if you're spending 3, you can choose if it's yours or another player's, and of course that just builds up your hand to be stronger. The attack cards are used to try to prevent negative outcomes when the bandits come in. So you see, face up from the village cards, whether it's a building or an attack, like a bandit coming, or a spy or a plague, right? And so it tells you on the front of the card how many successes or cards played of that kind that you need to defeat it. So, like for instance, these cards here, this one requires 4 attack cards to be successful to prevent the negative outcome. And this one requires 4 spy cards to prevent the negative outcome. Now, some of these are nothing happens, and you won't know that. And so you're playing cards on your turn, as many as you want, face down in front of anything that you want. And after everyone's played, that's when you shuffle the stuff up and you try to see, did we actually, collectively turn in 4 spy cards to remove this, or 3 heal cards to remove the plague that's out there. Alternatively, like I said, the main goal here is to build these buildings. So you can see to build this building, everyone needs to contribute at least 8 treasures. So the treasures are on the fronts of all the cards, regardless of what type they are. They can be 1, 2, or 3 treasures, or they can even be negative. And so if you play a card that subtracts treasures from, other cards being added, then you are now hurting everyone's attempt of, getting that building built. Mm-hmm. The other thing is, like I said, on the back of these buildings, it tells you like a star number. That's the popularity or prosperity.
Prosperity, yeah.
You won't know exactly how much prosperity each building is giving you until the end of the game either. So you don't know how successful that you've been. But there are different kinds of buildings, so you kind of have a general idea, like, well, this one's like a bigger building and it costs, more to do, so it's probably going to be worth more. But that's all kind of part of what makes this interesting. You can play a spy card on your turn to look at 2 random face down cards in front of a building and choose to remove one or not. And so I don't think we really did that too much.
No, I was unaware.
Yeah, but that is a thing that you can do. Or, look at the other side of a face down threat or building. But yeah, so you're collectively working on this goal, and there's also, in addition to the few village cards that come out each round, 4 ongoing great buildings, and those have their own, special way of being complete at the end. Like, for instance, one of them, which gives you 20 prosperity, it says you have to have 18 treasures contributed to it. So people are going to be, during the game putting face down cards here. Hopefully it's going to add up to at least 18 treasures. Another one here, this is like, it's worth 30 prosperity points. And it needs, I want to say, like 10 spy cards.
Something like that, yeah.
But if anyone's played heal cards or the gold cards in here, it removes or negates another spy card. So there's a lot of interesting dynamics that can happen in this game for such a short experience. I thought it was really cool. I liked how, we could play off of that and basically make decisions on what we think other people are doing, and then every round kind of figuring out, oh, okay, there wasn't anyone actively, undermining, or maybe there was, and who do I suspect? I think those are really cool elements that, gets added to a short game like this. And I mean, the box is very, very small because, it's just cards, very limited components that are needed to play the game. That being said, the artwork is really well
like
done.
The artwork, yeah, it's really pretty.
What are some things that you really liked about it?
I really like the add to and take away of that you have the treasure that either adds to or subtracts from your goal. And I like that you can switch out on your hand down here to make sure you either do or don't hit that 7 treasure,
It's true, because you're forced to put at least one in front of you at the start of every round. So it is interesting to see, if you're limited and you go, oh, well, I've given myself a few treasures, but I don't want to be the scoundrel.
I also kind of help myself because I put a lot of attack down here trying to balance it out. And then when we would pull attack, I could, if I didn't draw any, I had some to go to.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Hmm.
You do have to keep a number of cards in front of you the same, so you do have to exchange cards. You can't just use them and play them. You do have to kind of resupply that that growing pile of cards. But it plays in 6 rounds with everyone getting one turn to play whatever they want, and you evaluate the current threats and village buildings and things each round, and then at the end of the game you also evaluate the great buildings, and there's a certain threshold to meet of prosperity points based on the player count, and as long as that's been met, the allies win, which is anyone who did not have 7 or more treasure in front of them, but you would reveal that at the end as well. And if the prosperity point goal wasn't met, then anyone who was a scoundrel having 7 or more wins if they have the most treasure. I think it's pretty clever. It's got a lot of neat ideas here, and the component quality, as far as like the cards, they're really strong, really sturdy,
Hmm.
almost like so thick that it's new set of cards. Like a really thick new set of cards is almost like really hard to shuffle. Um, but those are some initial thoughts. There are some ongoing envelopes
Hmm.
of gameplay, kind of like a legacy experience going on. Like this one says, open when all great buildings have been built. Open when one player single-handedly defeats 3 threats in a round. So, there's a lot of ongoing type of added card play that can enter into the village deck if you want to play that for like a legacy experience. Um, yeah, I think overall I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
So, for I think a small box game that, does some unique stuff that for the same kinds of co-op with trader type stuff, you're going to be spending a lot more money or have a bigger box of things to, um, a lot of components and rules, but the rules are pretty streamlined.
Hmm.
I think that's really a point in its favor. I think definitely check it out if you see it and maybe pick up a copy. I recommend it. It's Dawn by Green Meadow Games. So thanks for
That's good.
watching. Thanks for watching this review of Dawn. I've been Jared.
I'm Holly.
We'll see you next time.